everybody that's available to come. I don't know exactly how many people are there, but it's a very big building and it is packed every year. Standing room only usually. We do reading the rules, all of the event type stuff. We have raffles, we have vendors, we have a live auction to raise money for the following year. It's just a big event. We do sometimes we have some special guests. We do all kinds of different stuff. Something that's really cool that we do actually at the banquet is all the Vietnam veterans.
Mm-hmm.
They come up to the stage and everybody goes through and shakes their hand and all that.
I was going to ask you if you guys do any kind of special recognition for the veterans that show up.
Mm-hmm. And we do the same thing for World War II veterans. They come up on the stage and everybody's introduced to them and shake their hands and give them a round of applause and say their thanks. It's actually pretty cool to see.
It's so humbling. Whenever I see, military vets, I'm not a military vet myself either, but I always get a little touched just to kind of hear their stories and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of those guys have just made tremendous sacrifices, and for a place like Fishing for Freedom to recognize that, it's got to be very touching.
Right. Yep. That's what we're all about, is saying thank you, basically giving back. People like me and you that were not in the military, we give back our time for these people that have spent so much of their time for us, basically. So we give back to them as a thank you, take them out fishing, make them enjoy their weekend. It's just a big way to say thank you.
And like so many of those other organizations, it's all free for the veteran, right? Once they show up.
Yep, that's correct. The only thing that the veterans have to pay for, veterans or active duty, that's why we call them warriors. So they're both invited. Veterans or active duty. So the only thing that they have to pay for is their travel to get there and home, and any fishing or food related that we don't already provide. So we feed them, we put them in hotels, we transport them from their hotel to either the boat ramp or wherever they're going. We cover everything.
Do they have to bring their own equipment, or do you guys have some of that too?
If they have their own equipment, they're encouraged to bring it. If they do not, we require our boaters to supply tackle for the warriors, usually one, sometimes two warriors per boat.
Man, that is so great that the fishing community can step up like that. That's really good to see.
Yep, it's everybody. It's all one big. We're all one big family. Everybody talks amongst each other and helps each other out. It's really cool to see.
And you guys split the fishing tournament up, right? Like different species?
That's correct. We do. Let me bring it up here. I'll tell you exactly what we've got. Make sure I get my ducks in line here. So we do largemouth and smallmouth bass on the Mississippi River. Pool 19 and 20 is a division. Pool 21 to 24 is a division. So we've got two Mississippi bass divisions. We do the same thing with catfish. So then we have two Mississippi catfish divisions. Then on Mark Twain Lake, we do bass, catfish, and crappie, all on Mark Twain Lake. And then underneath the dam at Mark Twain Lake, what we call the re-reg pool, the re-regulation pool, it's between a river and a lake. Sometimes it's flowing if the dam's flowing water. Other than that, it's kind of like a lake. We have the same there also, bass, crappie, catfish. And then, again, like I was saying earlier, we have a private lake that we take people to also.
And then the veterans or the warriors just decide what they want to do, like whenever they sign up?
Correct, yep. Registration begins February 1st every year. On your registration form, you will say what you would like to fish for. So if you want to come fish for crappie, you put crappie, and we will send you to either Mark Twain Lake or the re-regulation pool.
Man, that's so great. So obviously, I assume the vets and warriors really appreciate it. I mean, how does it really affect them? What does it do for them mentally and physically to get out and actually fish and have fun?
Well, like I said earlier, it's all about us saying thanks. So one, they feel appreciated. They come in on Friday kind of not knowing what to expect if they've never been there before, and they leave feeling appreciated. They've had fun. They've gained friendships. It's all about camaraderie, as we say. You leave home knowing a lot more people than you did when you come back. Some people even come back throughout the year and go fishing with their boater or their warrior. Invite them over for dinner and they'll take them out fishing the next morning. So you make good friendships like that. Like I said, we have different raffles and giveaways and stuff like that. So sometimes people take stuff with them. Everybody that comes gets a goodie bag. So you definitely get something to take home with you. If not a gun or a new fishing rod or something big that's high dollar items. It's all about us saying thanks to them, and they get to go home. Most of the time, everybody's happy when they leave. 99% of the time. So it's a good time.
Yeah, and so what are some of the other are there local businesses that pitch in and help out, other organizations that kind of step up and help throughout the weekend?
Yes. So throughout the weekend, we have volunteers on every aspect. Friday night with the meet and greet, Saturday with lunch, setting up the banquet, giving out food at the banquet. Our whoever cooks the food for the night usually brings about 20 to 30 volunteers, I think, to help distribute the food and then pick up plates afterwards. After the banquet, everybody helps tear down. We've got plaques with all of our volunteers, all kinds of different stuff like that. And then Sunday at the weigh-in, it's usually the same people every year that we've been doing it for so long. We just stick to our normal job on Sunday, carrying fish, reading out, reading the scale to the people that are writing the numbers down on the boards, stuff like that. We've got food, people that come on cook food on Sunday, all kinds of stuff. So,
any super memorable fish throughout the years that you can remember? Any huge catfish or monster bass?
Not that I can really think of. Something that's really cool that we do is, which we don't actually really promote. It's in the rules, but we don't really promote it. We do a trash fish division also. So, for instance, if you go on the Mississippi River, we have Asian carp, the jump. So people turn those in all the time. The most memorable fish that I've ever seen was a northern pike somebody brought in last year as a trash, or 2 years ago, I think it was, as a trash fish. That was kind of cool.
So the reason I laughed, the other guy that was going to join us, he'll get a real kick out of this.
Mm-hmm.
He about killed me one night when we were fishing in a lightning storm, and he caught a drum.
Yep.
And ever since then, I've had a deep demise of what I would call a trash fish.
Right.
So I will be sure after we get done talking, I'm going to send him this audio so he can get a good chuckle.
We have a lot of trash fish turned in every year, but there's, like I said, we don't really promote it, but there is a trophy for it, I believe. But at the end of event, some people say, "Oh, I didn't know about that. I was bass fishing and I caught a 30-pound flathead. I could have turned that in." And we say, "Yeah, you could have. It's in the rules. We just don't really promote it to tell people to, they're targeting bass or crappie, that we don't want them to target something else that they're not signed up for, kind of thing." So,
sure. And with those Asian carp, I'm a little surprised you guys don't make a special tournament just for those, because they're pretty invasive in that area, right?
They're extremely invasive, and they're affecting our fishing also on the river and some of the lakes around here that get flooded. There are tournaments around here that are directed towards the Asian carp, the silver carp, the flying carp. We don't have one affiliated with Fishing for Freedom. Obviously, if somebody wants to do it as a fundraiser or something like that, it's always a possibility, but we don't, as Fishing for Freedom, we don't do one. That's correct.
Yeah. And you say it's affecting the fishery. What did the big head carp do? Do they just eat all the microorganisms that feed some of the bigger fish, or?
That's correct. They feed on all the plankton in the water. We've noticed just in the past month or so that we've been hitting the catfish hard, that if you look at your fish finder and you see the Asian carp, the catfish aren't going to bite. So once they move in to an area, they basically kick all the fish out. So they've pretty much taken over all of the real estate out there. So for the fish, they filter their food. So then our normal target fish have less food to eat, stuff like that. So they're pretty much taking over real estate is what they're doing.
We're kind of getting off topic, but what does DNR, do they have any plans in place to try to get rid of those things?
Yes and no. They can't really do much to them right now. Obviously, you can catch them in nets and stuff like that, but they really don't have a good use for them. Some people use them for fertilizer. Some people eat them. I've eaten one once. It's not very good. I knew what it was, so I probably didn't like it because of that. But some people eat them. and they use them for fertilizer, like I said, or anything like that, fish meal, dog food, stuff like that. But there's no good market for them for commercial fishermen or people like me to actually target them. But I do know, it's a rumor, but I'm pretty sure I read one time that there is a $1 million reward to someone if you can figure out a way to safely keep them out of the Great Lakes. So right now they have an electric fence up there that kills everything that touches them.
Yes.
That touches the electric fence. So if you can find a way to keep the Asian carp, the silver carp, the big head carp out of the Great Lakes without using electric fence, they give you $1 million.
Well, I guess I know what I'm going to be working on for a little while.
Good luck.
Okay, so now that I got my $1 million dream, back to Fishing for Freedom.
Right.
So with COVID going on this year, you guys had to cancel this year's event, right?
That's correct. We did have to cancel.
I hate to hear that. Are there plans that maybe if it clears up later in the year to try to do something, or are you just going to wait until next year?
We're going to wait till next year. The reason we do it the first weekend of June every year is one, because everybody knows it's always the first weekend of the year. All of the community, the people that come, all of our sponsors and all that, they all know that it's the first weekend of June every year. And also because that is actually free fishing weekend in Illinois. And we cover all of fishing license, Illinois and Missouri, for everybody that comes to our event. All of our boaters, all of our warriors, they don't have to worry about a fishing license or anything like that. Still have to obey the law, but they don't have to purchase a license. So we'd always do it the first weekend of June because of that, and a couple more reasons also, but that's the main ones.
I didn't think about that, but that's a very clever way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other plans to add another type of date, or are you guys pretty comfortable with the Kappa 300?
Yeah, when we talked about, with all this COVID stuff going on, when we talked about either canceling or postponing, we kind of weighed the two options, and postponing was a pretty much definite no. We can do it, but it would take a lot of planning. Like I said, everybody knows it's the first weekend of the year, so all of our porta potties and tents and food trucks and stuff like that is already planned every year for the first week of June. So if we moved it to, say, September, which is what we were going to kind of throw up in the air to possibly do, if we move it to September, we have to reschedule all of that kind of stuff. So it won't be the as big of an event. It can't be as big of an event. It can be, but it wouldn't be the same. How about that? It wouldn't be the same event. So we didn't want to just try something new and see what happened kind of thing when we knew it would stick. So we ended up canceling this year. It's possible to do two things in the future. You never know, but as of now, we're going to stick to 1 weekend a year.
Well, I think I can appreciate the thought behind it, because I'm sure you guys want to produce a quality event for the vets and warriors, and you've got a pretty good formula. No reason to really mess with it.
Yep, that's correct. Like I was saying earlier, most of the people that still do it today have been there the whole time. A lot of our board members are lifers. They've been there since the start. Where this would have been our 10th year, so 10 years strong. Basically, we can still say 10 years strong because we're all still here, but 10 years strong on the planning side. So, yep, it's everybody's. We have our own ways of doing things, and we can get it done on the first weekend of June and how we do it. So if we change anything, it'd be a little more difficult. Yep.
Sure. So for normal people that maybe like me, where I live in Colorado, I can't feasibly go to Illinois. What's a good way for someone like me to help out with Fishing for Freedom?
If you can't join us, which we have, I can tell you the numbers on how many people from how many states. It's pretty cool to see. But for people that can't join, we always accept donations if you would like to help out that way. If you just doing things like this, helping spread the word. We have people come from Hawaii every year. We've had a guy from Hawaii, I believe, all 9 years, I believe. So just spreading the word to get more people involved. Publicity it goes to the boaters and the warriors, collecting, getting more people to come, and it also goes to our sponsorships. So if we collect more money, raise more money, get more sponsors, we can have a better event. So, every little thing counts. We're a non-profit event. We raise our own money. We have a lot of donations, stuff like that. So everything helps. If you can't make the event, you can, do your part to either, get people to come, get donations, or donate yourself. And we appreciate everything we get.